My name is Bev Hertler, and back when Love Inc. first began, Doug McKinney appeared at our church to enlist some volunteers to help get the whole program started. So I volunteered, and Lisa Fellows contacted my husband and myself to be on a feasibility study to see if it was right to start a resale shop.
When I came on as executive director in 2008, started in June, and we went in that August to the national training, and we saw a resale shop, and it was like, wow, this is nice, and what a great place for people to bring things, and what a great place for clients and people in the community to come and learn about Love Inc. and get involved. And so St. Luke's came on as a church partner, and they said, well, what can we do? What could our gap ministry be? And we identified several locations that we thought would be good in the Littleton community. We looked over there near the Love Inc. offices at that time. We looked here at South Fellowship, and there was something about partnering with a church that felt good to me, especially since another church had started the Gap Ministry. Now we were involved in this church.
I'm Jerry Hertzler. I attend St. Luke's United Methodist Church, and I've been involved with Love Inc. since about 2010. I started initially with Love on Wheels, the transportation ministry, kind of helped that get streamlined, and then started with Renewed Treasures, getting the thrift store up and running, and managed the store for about 6 years. Throughout the startup process, it was very evident that God was involved in it from the get-go. When we needed a semi-trailer for storage, He was there providing a semi-trailer. When we needed a retail space, South Fellowship provided that space. When we needed volunteers to hang drywall, those volunteers showed up. And it was God showing up through those volunteers.
This was a former beauty shop, so obviously we had a little bit of work to do. So we knocked out walls and scrubbed floors and painted and did all kinds of things for a long, long time. And by this time, several others had joined the group. Fran and Jerry and Debbie and a lot of others. But then we needed money to get this thing going. So we decided to hold a monthly garage sale and got other churches involved. There were so many garage sales, I thought if I ever see another pair of blue jeans, I will be so happy.
We also needed a catchy name for the store. We held a naming contest and received over 50 entries. The winning name from the contest was Link Community Thrift. After some pushback from Love Inc. National regarding branding, we went back to the original submissions.
One of the shops at another Love Inc. was called Renewed Blessings. Another one was Love's Treasures, and then Bev, I think it was, suggested, well, why don't we just call it Renewed Treasures? Two words that I love, renewed and treasures. So that's how we got the name. I remember the day, all meeting out there in the sidewalk with the ribbon cutting. We had Reverend Janet Forbes, or Dr. Janet Forbes, and Jerry Hertzler was there, the co-chair, along with Nita Dunn, and Lisa Fellows was our board chairperson, and then myself. We had the vision from the other Love Incs. that we'd seen around the country, upscale, nice, almost boutique-like, but very practical things too, and the idea that it's a place that people want to be, and this place was a place people wanted to be from day one.
After 6 years of the store being run entirely by volunteers, Love Inc. hired a part-time manager, Dana Harris, and she led the team through the worst of the pandemic, and Love Inc. saw the need for a full-time manager, and they hired Dina Graven, and sales have gone up, and the store is thriving.
I'm Fran West from St. Luke's United Methodist Church, and I joined the Renewed Treasures group over a decade ago, and we noticed a lot of miraculous stories happen daily. It was the end of the day, on the last day we were open for Christmas that year, and there was no one else in the store. A young man came in with his family. The family was weary, and the kids were a little edgy, and Debbie Miller was helping out, and she took over the father, and I went and got the preschooler. We picked out, and I'm sure it was divinely guided, a book that we sat down and started to read. The father had a chance to complete his list, and I said, well, go over to the Christmas basket and get a couple of more books. And then he said, I want that book. So they took it, and I have to tear up a little, that's the book. They wanted to go home and read it again and again. After they left, Debbie and I had a few happy, joyful tears and closed up the shop for Christmas. We have little stories when we find, they come in looking for something and we find it immediately. A young married lady came in, and she all of a sudden had to be in charge of doing the Thanksgiving dinner for her family. Now, she didn't think she'd ever need good china, so she didn't have any. She came in here and we found a complete set of beautiful Bavarian china and enough napkins and a tablecloth that matched. And she was ready to host her Thanksgiving dinner. It's a wonderful place to work. The friendships are like, they're beyond friendship, they're family.
This has been such a blessing because I love helping people, and I like to see the delight on their faces when they find a true bargain. Knowing that Love Inc. really vetted the needs of clients made me glad we weren't just giving handouts. I remember a single dad who really needed a bicycle to get to his new job as he didn't have a car. It just so happened that that day someone had donated a bicycle. We brought it out on the floor and his eyes just lit up. I've always thought about that moment when God provided and the look on his face. I love the people that I work with. I've made many friendships and that I know will last me the rest of my life.
I always get a little choked up when I talk about Love Inc. because the reality is that we just had to listen to God. And anytime we had a need, and they showed up daily almost, some kind of a need, a financial need, we needed a product, we needed a volunteer, God would show up in some amazing ways. And with this store, God showed up with the vision, with the expansion, with the partnership with the church, with the partnership with all the community. People just came to be a part of it. And I think we had like 60 or 70 volunteers at one of our gatherings that we had. And all those people from all the different churches there meeting each other. I work on Tuesday. Well, I work on Thursday. We've never met. So Love Inc. builds community, and this place makes it happen.
God continues to be involved in this ministry through our volunteers, interactions with people, everybody that comes in the door, and through the good stewardship of all the donations that are generously given. And it's been exciting for the last 10 years to see all of this happen through the volunteers of Love Inc. and God's work through those people. And I'm excited to see what's going to happen the next 10 years for Renewed Treasures and Love Inc.